So let's go to our topic for today, exploring the spiritual realms of Precolonial Indigenous Filipino. Why I make this seminar, or why I do make this webinar and offer this as a subject for understanding of those manghilot. Because many people right now think that the Philippines is the only Christian nation in Southeast Asia. But actually, if you will ask Muslim, they will proudly say that they are the Muslim were the first religion. But if you talk to a Buddhist, they will say no, it's not Islam and Buddhist or Islam and Catholic, no. It is the Buddhist who are the first religion being practiced in Asia. And sometimes during conversation, we might really believe that Filipinos are Buddhist. But remember, the history of the Philippine nation as archipelago doesn't start from the naming of us being a Filipino in 1521. Our history dates back even to 50,000 years ago, no? And here we are going to share what do we find out, no? And what are the spiritual practices. So at the beginning of this workshop, no, we have this content na or the topic of that we are going to discuss. So here we are going to define the pre-colonial indigenous spirituality, the history of religion in the Philippines from the start, Srivijaya, Islam, Roman Catholicism, and Protestantism. Although when we talk about religion, it is an organized religion, and this religion are headed by a pope or by a leader, a religious leader. Compared to the indigenous, no, we don't have structures, we don't have leadership or national leadership to call on. But we are going to discuss that. And then after that, we are going to explore the pre-colonial indigenous spirituality of ancient Filipino. We are going to discuss about the soul, how many soul, and what is the importance of our soul, of the soul into our body. So we might be talk the living souls that is within us, and then after we die, what happened to the soul, and that's where we are going to talk about the anito, and then we are going to talk about the encanto. Do you have any idea or knowledge about encanto? So okay, usually encanto it is a Spanish term, no, a Spanish term given to those unseen. But historically, what was recorded, no, our ancestor just called those elemental as laman lupa or creatures under the earth and laman dagat or creatures under the sea, no? But they give it some mystical and magical nature. That's why the priest, missionary priest, called them as demon. Even the Muslim missionaries who preach that they recognize the presence of encanto, but they call it as jinn or demon. So later on, we are going to discuss that. And then above the encanto, there is a diwata. So I think there are many diwata here, no? So probably many of you think that the diwata are fairy like Tinkerbell, no? The Tinkerbell and etc. etc. But there is much more meaning about the diwata, no? So later on we are going to discuss. And and amazingly, when we are honoring the diwatang Makalindong of the Manobo tribe, we have, yan, hi, Lakan Ubaya, nagsalad, my brother, Jamie Pineda, no? So, we have discussed, no, during on the Manobo tribe, I have, no, it's okay, I'm just starting, no, but don't worry, you are going to receive this not certificate agad, no, just kidding. Wait, my laptop is not charging pala. Wait for so when I discuss about when we are honoring the Manobo tribe or the Manobo Diwatang Makalindong, I found out that there is a divine creature or divine being that is higher than the Diwata, and that is called the Umli, no? the only. That's why I don't know if you have seen sometimes in the Tagalog area, Bathala are not advisable to call upon Bathala because Bathala is supreme, but rather we as a devotee to Bathala must call upon the Diwata, such as if you have a lost object. I don't know if Lakan Ubaya have experienced that when you got lost some object you call to Anangolay, no? Although this is what amazing, no? In record, Anangolay is a minor diwata in the Tagalog area, but if you go to Pangasinan, Anangolay becomes a male figure which can be called as Amang Gowali and become a supreme diwata. So this is amazing on the diwata system of the Philippines. Na it seems that the whole region, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao are interconnected to each other in terms of belief. But the difference is the language of they use, no? So let's move on. Let's move on. So let us start, no? What is pre-colonial indigenous spirituality? So spirituality, I use some definition from Google, no? Because it's hard to define. Although Lakay can easily define spirituality. Lakay, are you here? Just kidding, no? But let me just move on. Spirituality, according to the Royal College of Psychiatrists in United Kingdom, involves the recognition of a feeling or sense of belief that there is something greater than us as human, something more to being human than sensory experience, and that the greater whole of which are part of cosmic or divine nature. So here, the spirituality involves senses, no? That's why those people, no, if in the a normal conversation, if some people will know, oh, you're spiritual, do you see ghost, do you see an encanto, can you read something, my palm, and tell me the predict the future. So this is the common perception of the modern people if we are engaging into spirituality. So probably all nabansagan, no? Probably people will think if you introduce yourself as practicing pre-colonial indigenous spirituality, people might have conception that you are a magical being. You are practicing magic or practicing some spiritual tap that could change their life. Actually, it's for me, no, parang it is an advantage na people have that conception that you have the ability to transform their life. You could bring light, but dangerous if we face some fundamentalist Christian or Muslim, the hardcore one, that we might receive discrimination among them. But this is the reason why we are going to discuss this so that we could be protected and understand more what is the indigenous spirituality, because the tendency such as what I have experienced, no, in the Hilot Congress, because me and Lakay have attended the Hilot Congress. There is a certain person who is advocating for Hilot, but then he want to colonize and Christianize Hilot by telling na we must follow the modern God right now, the religious. So all manghihilot should be Christian. So what about those indigenous people that are still practicing and calling Diwata and want to take care, no? And they even call demonic and everything, no? So that's the problem with the modern world that is close-minded in terms of their religious point of view, but I'm not going to elaborate that. No, so from this definition, spirituality is the recognition or acknowledgement that beyond our human existence, there are greater being that is non-human or non-created that is larger than us that exists and has power over us. I don't know if this is true for you. If I'm going to ask the 14 participant right now about spirituality, each one of you has different interpretation or different definition. And there is nothing wrong about that definition. Everything is is okay because it's your own feeling, it's your own description. Even this definition of spirituality, according to academic point of view, might be different from the spirituality teaching of some religious organization. No, we might be teaching for us in Lunti Agama, we might have different teaching of definition of spirit, but every religion might agree that there is power. No, there is one power that governs us. Even in terms of atheism, they don't believe in the presence of God, but that is their belief. They don't believe that there is no power that governs them, no? Or they might equate it in some other terms. So let me move on the next slide. So here, another definition, according to Cambridge Dictionary, indigenous pertains to a people who originally lived in a place rather than people who moved there from somewhere else, while according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, it defines indigenous as the earliest known inhabitant of a place, and especially if a place that was colonized is now a dominant group. But before I share this, I just want to know, would you, everyone here, consider yourself as indigenous? Anyone? I want to hear your voice. I think Sir Joshua.
Um, I don't consider myself indigenous because I live in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm not Native American, so I don't feel indigenous to the U.S. But when I am back in the Philippines, my family's from Panay, from Iloilo and Rojas City, and Aklan, Calibo, Boracay. Then I do feel like that's my land when I'm there because that's where my ancestors are from.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sir Joshua. It was so nice, no? Um, um, Lisa, would you consider yourself as indigenous?
You call it Lisa, correct?
Yes, yes,
I
Lisa.
would say that's hard to answer because, yes, we're I kind of agree with, I believe it was Joshua saying that I don't feel indigenous here, but even if I were to be born in the Philippines, like the years of, the like ethnicities and different people kind of coming in to colonize the Philippines have like mixed the bloods over the years, but
Mm,
I wouldn't say like I would confidently be saying that's my opinion. I'm still learning a lot. So it's kind of
yeah,
in between them. So
thank you. So I might want to ask Daphne Clem, good morning or good evening to you. Would you consider yourself to be indigenous?
I wouldn't. Um, I like Joshua. I also have family in Panay and from Iloilo on my mother's side. I'm also in the U.S., so I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't consider myself indigenous to here. Um, I but I would say that I have lineage at the very least to that side. I wouldn't call it indigenous. I don't know how far back the family would go before it would be considered that.
Group. So now I have a question for you, for everyone. Would you consider yourself an indigenous person? Let's start with Sinji Magno. Would you consider yourself an indigenous?
Actually, to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure, but I think yes, because maybe my ancestor was, were practicing different kinds of tradition that I'm not familiar with. So I think I can consider myself as, you know, indigenous based on my ancestors' practice before.
Mhm. What about you, Lord Miles? Would you consider yourself an indigenous?
Yeah, I'm actually considering myself as indigenous because based on my understanding, when we say indigenous, this is actually like a term for being native. And we as Filipino people, I believe that we are all native here in the Philippines. So as far as I know, all of us here are indigenous. It's just happened that because of the modernization and the colonialization, this term is actually being replaced based on what is the culture of that uh, what you call it, those who conquer us It is actually being
Colonized.
replaced by their culture. So the
Mm.
indigenous term is being replaced from that point. But I believe we are all indigenous. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lord Miles. What about you, Joel? Joel, are you still here? Would
Yes.
you consider yourself as indigenous, even though you look like Korean?
Um, I'm not sure because my grandfather is a pure-blooded Chinese. So I'm actually like a fourth Chinese and three-fourth Filipino. Um, but my grandfather lived here since he was 18 years old. So I guess I
Mm-hmm.
can consider myself indigenous, but I'm not sure about his ancestral history or his ancestry because we never met his family. So my grandfather lived here for a very long time until he died. So he never met his family anymore in China. So,
Mm.
but yes, I do consider myself as indigenous.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Now, Jennifer, I know it is hard for you to define this, but I would ask you if wherever you want to call yourself indigenous, either indigenous in Germany or indigenous here in the Philippines, would you consider yourself as an indigenous people?
Um, I would say I it's very difficult really to answer this question because I was born and raised in Germany. I still live here in Germany, and I have when I look at my father, he's a white man,
Mm,
and I feel yeah, I'm so connected to my German family.
mm,
But this is very maybe you can see it's so hard for me to explain. I feel more at home in the Philippines.
wow. Thank you very much for that. No, actually, that explains all. Now, Princess, are you still here, Your Highness? So, are you? Do you consider yourself as indigenous? So, as far as you know, do you belong to any tribe?
No, I am a pure Catholic, Roman Catholic, sir. And as you question me, as I considered myself as a indigenous. What, ano nga po yung tanong?
Ano, kung meron ka bang katutubo o meron kang tribo na pinagmulan?
Um, I remember our Lola Tita is a half, I think one-fourth Spanish, and
Mm.
our Lolo is a pure Filipino. So I cannot say that I am a indigenous people. I cannot answer that question, sir.
So you,
So,
yes, okay. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Because we are cousins.
Oh,
Your
yes.
mom is or how can I say this? Your mother is my aunt, and you also have to consider that our Lolo, he was half Indian too.
okay. No,
Oh,
I don't know
Indian.
that. Sorry, sorry.
Really?
Oh,
We have
sorry.
like mixed up. We have
Mhm.
Spanish, we have Indian.
Mhm.
So it means, it, knowing this is very interesting because
Mhm.
you will learn where you come from. Although,
Mhm.
what kind of
Mhm.
mestizo? Actually, we call that as mestizo or mixed breed. You
Yeah,
intermarry with a local Filipino or native Filipino, but then those blood have been mixed because of the influence of the settlers, no? So today we are going to know where you came from and why there is an Indian blood in your blood, no? In your Lolo's blood and how it comes about, no? So I will just open up, no? Early this morning, for me, no, I hosted a two group of or group of the United States, no. So one from the East Coast and the other from the Pacific Coast, and I love their answer because they don't consider themselves as indigenous, also, no. But let us move it backward. Parang reverse the question. If you are not an indigenous, would you consider yourself? So those who answer not indigenous, no, I think Kendrick or Princess and Jennifer, would you consider as a colonizer?
I have difficulty getting the question. Can you ask it more precise?
Okay. So, for example, those people who lives in America because they are Filipino American. So they are not indigenous to the America. But I
Mm-hmm.
think for you, Jennifer, your race could be indigenous. You are indigenous to Germany.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why I just told you.
Mhm.
Whenever I go to the Philippines, I feel so connected and at home.
Yes.
I feel more at home in the Philippines, even though I cannot. You
Speak.
see, we speak English. I cannot talk Tagalog because my mom, when she came here to Germany, she adapted to the lifestyle over here, and so she's speaking German.
Actually, what the Americans or the Philams define themselves is they call themselves as colonial settlers. It means they come from different country and migrated to another country and stayed there, although they were not invited or welcomed formally by the indigenous people there, but they live there, so they become settlers or colonial settlers. So they come from there. So here, because for us Filipino, even here in the Philippines, we are divided on the thinking. Many people have hatred towards what do you call it, the colonizers, no? They think
Yeah,
that it's more on abuse and etc etc or bad thing, but
and
it okay,
I
go
just
ahead.
I when I traveled to the Philippines, that was in 2019. So before the pandemic started, that was the last time in the Philippines. And I traveled, or we came, my husband and my father. So two white German, and we went to a restaurant in Bigos. So my
Indigos. In
is
Davao, yes, in Davao, yeah.
uh,
So, but if
near.
we are go
Let me
ahead, go
say,
ahead.
I could see that some people in the restaurant, when they saw my father, my German father, me, look at me. I mean, I have black hair, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I really I don't look like the average German. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, and I could see that some men were sitting in the restaurant, and their eyes were like,
Suspicious.
who's this girl coming with a white man, two white men? So I could see that they were not very welcome, my husband, my partner,
Mm,
and dad,
mm,
because they're white people.
mm.
So do you see the difficulty? I mean, what can I do? I'm half German. I'm really, I cannot divide myself, like, you know.
Actually, I know the feeling because we had a student who is a Vietnamese, no? Kyun
Mhm.
V. When she is in the US, actually she is half Vietnam and half United States, an American. When
Yeah.
she is in the US, she received so many discrimination because she is an Asian. Now
Uh,
she fly from California, I think California. She fly to Vietnam to her own home country, where her ano. But when she came there, people are discriminating her because she doesn't speak fluent Vietnamese.
Same with me.
So
Yeah.
and then another thing, I hope she feels that she is welcome with us when she fly here to the Philippines and study Hilot. I said, you have a really problem. um,
Yes.
because you are not a Filipino, but you are learning our tradition. But I said no, and the spirit have told me we are inclusive. Hilot is not about what race you are.
Mhm.
In our history as a Filipino nation, let us be reminded that the early Filipino are migrants. The Aitas who traveled on the what you call that, on the land bridges. So it came from mainland Asia and crossed over the Siberian to Siberian Strait so that they could go to Alaska and travel to America. And actually, when I was doing this radio podcast or internet radio podcast at International Pagan Radio, I have a program called Peace Prayer Journey, and I have discussed about peopling of the United States or of the American continent. And those people in American continent probably came from Asia. There is research that those people who used the land bridges cross on the Siberia and passes through the Alaska, and they go down from Canada down to the South Africa. That's where the Native Americans came from. So if you will notice the feature of the Native American, it has similarity with the Asian looks, no? Asian looks almost the same. So with that, no, parang even our people here in the Philippines, if you will notice, we have some tribes that similar to the look of or facial recognition with some Taiwanese, Chinese, Japanese, and also with the black, with the African people. We know not all African are black, no, because there are part na British colony din yung ano nila ang side, but most of the time they are black. So we are also what they call that, colonizer, a colonial settler. We settle from one place to another. And the thing is here is, even though all of us become a colonizer, we are indigenous of this planet. The indigenous, because right now when we talk about indigenous, we talk about tribes or I think Princess is from Davao or Davao, Manobo, etc., etc. I am Tagalog. Sinji is Caviteño. Joel is um, is Laguna, and Miles probably Singaporean. You are already looking like a Singaporean, no? But anyway, it's multiracial. But the thing here is the teaching of Lunting Agama, we are part of one race. We are all an indigenous tribe of this planet. At least we belong to one planet and not from outer space. No, we do not look like an alien. But
No.
I might say every one of us would say now we are not indigenous originally, or we have other places. But then this is an opposite question. So if we are not an indigenous, as a migrant, if I use the term right, would you also consider yourself as a colonialist or a colonialist or colonizer? Um, Lakan Ubaya, could you speak? Would you consider yourself as colo- yes, as settler colonial, no? So as a settler as colon, can you anyone, can you elaborate on that? The settler as colonial. Kim, can you explain or elaborate? Would you consider yourself as a settler colonial also?
Yes, I think I would because I was not invited here by the indigenous peoples of Turtle Island. And that's something that I'm definitely still learning, but I would say that I at this point of my journey would identify as a settler.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. No. Although for us, no, for us, it might be good to know that we could be an indigenous, or it could be good also to know that we are a colonized settler or colonize. Ano? What's the term? The colonized or a settler colonial. No. Settler colonial. So it depends on how we see ourselves. And sometimes some Filipino here might be thankful. That's why also even in the Philippines we are divided in terms of bringing back the pre-colonial past, or we should embrace the colonial system that we are embracing right now, no? But then the good and the bad still, parang it is engraved in our heart. It varies on how we benefit from it, no? But let us continue. Okay, this is the past. So the pre-colonial indigenous spirituality are sets of belief and practices of our ancestors prior to the coming of the waves of colonizers and influencer. Yes, as many of you think that colonization only starts during the Spanish, British, American, and Japanese, but prior to them, our country has already been raped by Arabs, Chinese, and Hindu Buddhist influencers by introducing their belief system and practices that our ancestors forcibly adopt for survival. So yun nga no, the pre-colonial indigenous spirituality are such of beliefs and practices of our ancestors prior to the coming of the waves of colonizers and influencers. Yes, as many of you think that colonization only starts during the coming of Spanish, British, and American and Japanese, but prior to them, our country has already been raped by Arab, Chinese, and Hindu Buddhist influence by introducing their belief system and practices that our ancestors forcibly adopt for survival. Actually, those wave of people that came to us, no, parang sometimes we accept, especially the pre-colonial or the pre-Spanish, no, people accepted easily the Arab missionaries compared to the Spanish na nagkaroon ng that happened to have a resistance and revolution against them. When American came, people embraced the American, no? And then even the British only short time, the Japanese short time also, but now many Filipino find refuge in Japan for money and everything, no? So let us see, even you yourself as a colonized settler or colonial settler in your state, no, you are also sharing some of our adobo to your neighbor. Do you share your adobo, or do you know how to cook adobo? You share your pancit, and many people love it, no? It's a form of sharing, or parang colonizing then, no? Colonizing in a good way. So the next is, many Filipinos are very proud that our nation is called the Christian nation, or the first modern religion that is practiced in the Philippines. And that is not correct, because prior to the coming of Spain in 1521, the dominant religion by that time is Islam, which was spread by an Arab trader named Sheikh Karimul Makdum, and built the first mosque in Simunul town, Tawi-Tawi in Mindanao in 1380. So Islam has been spread or started in the Philippines 1380, no? Whereas the Catholic is 1521. So they spread out all over the country, no? Even in Luzon, there is Muslim. That's why there is the city of Manila, which is Manila, or there is they claim that it is from the word Allah, no? And actually, prior to Mindanao or having Muslim, the Srivijaya Empire have reached their influence to the Philippines in 682 AD. It is evidenced by the Golden Tara, which is now in the museum in Chicago, Illinois, I think, and the Laguna copper plate inscription, which can be found, is now also in displayed in National Museum, what that was dated in April 21, 900 AD. Actually, the Laguna copper plate was, we as a baybayin advocate, or those who write in ancient Filipino script, no, we considered April 21 as the discovery of our modern culture, because it is the only testament that we have our writing system by then. Although this writing system is still influenced by the Srivijaya Empire. That's why it is Abrahamic Sanskrit text, no? So it was not ours. But here, in uh, in the history of religion in the Philippines, modern Muslims of today proudly say that the Philippines prior to becoming Catholic nation is that we are an Islamic nation. First, as they claim that Lapu-Lapu was known as Salip Pulaka, which is derived for Salip, no, Pulaka, which is derived from the word Kalipa or Salipa or Caliphate, which is an Islamic form of government in which political and religious leadership is united and the head of state as a successor to the Prophet Muhammad that was established in 610. But intriguingly, the Battle of which Lapu-Lapu and Magellan took place, is at the Bay Area of Mactan, on which is the behavior of their battle tactic is fit to the description of the Orang Laut, which is which is the Srivijaya Empire Armed Forces. Orang Laut means sea people or taong laot. So, on some historical account on depiction of the Battle of Mactan, they believe that Lapu-Lapu fight Magellan on the seashore. So this really parang prove that Lapu-Lapu might not be a Muslim, but they have this blood from the Srivijaya Empire or from Indonesia. So the influence of Srivijaya Empire is the Buddhist Talosokrat Empire that is based on the island of Sumatra, which is now known as Indonesia. Srivijaya Empire becomes a center for Buddhism to expand in Southeast Asia during the 7th to 11th century AD. During this period, the empire had religious, cultural, and trade links with Buddhist Pala of Bengal as well as in the Islamic Caliphate of the Middle East. So that's the reason why na parang, when you are going to trade or to sell, for example, I know there are some of you are doing bazaar, there is some of you doing some business negotiation with other people, 'di ba we develop relationship with them and sometimes we adopt some behavior. And that's the reason why even in Hilot, in our practices, there are so many people that came to us and we try to imitate or we try to learn how they live and sometimes we adapt it to ourselves, no? So I think we are very thankful. For me, I'm on that kind of behavior. I'm thankful that we have been taught about the trade system. We try to learn. We try to grow because of those influences. No, so it was the Srivijaya Empire that brought Buddhism in the Philippines during the 9th century, and Vajrayana was known as the dominant branch of Buddhism that been practiced in our country at that time. Vajrayana means diamond vehicle, which is known to the name as Mantrayana, Gayamantrana, Trayana, Tantrayana, secret mantra, tantric Buddhism, and esoteric Buddhism. So Vajrayana Buddhism practices are mantras, dharanis, mudras, mandalas, and the visualization of deities and Buddhas.
Buddhism.
So here, I don't know. I may ask, no, Lord Miles and Lord Mandrake. Stop ko muna ang sharing. Can you elaborate ano yung knowledge nyo about Tantra? Do you have any? Kasi parang nagkaroon ako ng
Okay.
confusion about that.
Yeah. Actually, based on my research, no, and understanding, Tantra is actually like a practice. I think Hindu practice,
Mhm.
something like that. And Tantra is a practice where they are utilizing the sexual energy, because we all believe that sexual energy is a divine energy and sacred because of its ability to create. And in Tantra, there are actually like teachings where you can utilize that sexual energy for to achieve your goals. That's my understanding when it comes with Tantra. So there are actually like scriptures from ancient scriptures how to do the Tantra with partner or with self. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
thank you
I'm
very much.
actually agree to that, and to the addition to that. So in my understanding as well, but Lord Miles is perfectly explained it well. So in my information about Tantra, so it is the combined elements of meditation, yoga, like ritual, mantra chanting, and energetic practices to achieve the spiritual growth and as well as the enlightenment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. The reason why I ask this, no, I just want to connect it to the knowledge of Hilot or the healing arts of the Filipino in terms of having pregnancy or having if you want to have a child. For example, I want to have my first child I want is to be male child, no? So there are some positioning or ritual positioning that a manghihilot will do to the parents, or the manghihilot will advise the couple to do this on a certain period of day. So it might be connected to that, no? So thank you for the clarification. So let's move on again, no? Okay. So here, like we said, no. So Tantrayana, secret mantra, Tantric Buddhism, and esoteric Buddhism. So I remember about that sexual thing, no, yung Kama Sutra or sex positioning. So I don't know. I'm not expert on that on Hilot, no. Just kidding. So Vajrayana Buddhism practices are mantras, dharanis, mudras, mandalas, and the visualization of deities and Buddha. So let us discuss what are these mantras, dharanis, mudras, and mandalas. And I think all of you know here, especially Miles, Lord Miles, and Lord Mandrake, no, you know what this is about. So mantra is the practice of chanting words or sounds repeatedly that aids concentration in meditation. As I give thought on this practice of chanting of words that is written, that is being recited or spoken repeatedly, it creates sound which a person could hear, may stimulate the individual mind to focus on the subject being chanted or played, as in musical instrument. So, so mantra are set of words being read or spoken loudly, so that you could have a focus. It will bring you to pay attention towards God. No, so probably this is still being done in the Catholic Church through their homily or the reading of the gospel. No, no. So it is a form. The gospel reading tends to spoken out loudly so that people could hear, and when person hear it, they will focus on their mind on that word which they teach that it is the word of God. So going to esoteric teaching, 'di ba? There are many Filipino who are carrying orasyon and they speak orasyon. So this probably the origin probably of orasyon is derived from this. Although we know that orasyon is a Christian Latin word, but most of the time we don't understand what is written on that Latin word, but we what do you call that? We speak it out, no? Because it has been taught to us if you speak it out, there are power. There is some power that been incorporated on that word. So this is the use of oration. So next part is okay. Merong opinion question. Okay, Jennifer.
I just want to say a few words about this, about the mantra and yoga. Um, I've been doing yoga for like 20 years now, and I've always asked myself, why am I so fascinated by the Indian culture and yoga? I'm German, I'm Filipino, I was also raised a Catholic, a Christian. So where does this come from? And referring to the webinar now, what you just said, that the Philippines have influences from the Vedic culture, and so you have this I have this connection, something I can't explain with my words. It's just a feeling. So it must come from the Philippines. It doesn't come from Germany. Why
Yeah,
do I? That's
uh,
that's what I want to share with you.
and you know, you mentioned a while ago, it belongs to your lolo. Both of you and Princess, you mentioned that your lolo has an Indian blood. So
That,
probably that's the reason why you have
yes.
so much affinity with yoga, with mantra, or and probably with also mudra. Do you know? Do you do hand mudra? Yes, I teach.
Yeah.
Yes, because I saw your video. You sing and dance, and you have that something, no? Yeah,
Yeah.
you are doing that. and we are also doing this, no, so you
Oh,
will be surprised, you will be surprised. So for a while, so let us continue, move on. So a while ago we have talked about mantra, and now we are going to talk about the ranis. So the ranis is also known as paritas, or Buddhist chants, mnemonic codes, incantation, or recitation, usually are mantras consisting of Sanskrit or Pali phrases that is believed to be protected and with powers to generate merits for Buddhist devotees. So actually, they are like a libretta. But here in the Philippines, these libretta are transformed. Although there are still librettas here now, we still have librettas, but most likely they convert the Taranis into agimat, no? So in this agimat, you could see it is a medallion that has an image of God or holy people, and it has also words that be, it's like a mnemonic code, no? And it can, that only an initiate could read out loud to generate merits or blessings to anyone who carries them. So we probably inherit that from the Buddhist and Hindu tradition, no? So next part is, that's what I said, no? The mudra is a symbolic or ritual gesture or pose in Hinduism, Jainism, or Buddhism. Similarly, some of the Philippine indigenous ritual dance do observe these symbolic or ritual gestures. So it means the parang yoga of the hand, right? No? But Lakay, this one, I want be attentive on this, no? Lakay is going to share the elements that can be found on your fingers.
Ayan.
Lakay, finger.
So in some traditional some western hand gesture, they have their specific uses for finger. So sometimes like this one is for power and this one is for blessing. But in Lundiang Agama, we discover the elements for finger. So this element is for the fire element. So the reason why most of the time in some practices, if you don't have any wands or atame, your finger is the extension of your energies. So some of the ancestors believe don't use your forefinger to ayun turo to point someone or something, especially if the forest, and then you will look that sometimes the encanto or the nature spirit will parang attracted to that to that gesture. And then this one is the air symbol, and then this is the water symbol. So the water is the ring finger. So this is the reason why most of that time we use the ring for marriage or the wedding ring on the left side and on this area, because this is the closest to the heart, which is the heart is consists of blood, and then the heart is pumps the blood, so the blood is connected to the water. And then this is the air element, because the fire and then the water, if you will reach it, it's hard. So it's like they are contradicting to each other, the energies of each element. So that's why the air element is in the middle to mediate the fire and then the water. Yun. And then this one is the earth element, and then this is the spirit. So the thumb represents the spirit because the spirit has the ability to touch all the elements. So the spirit can access all the elements without hard reaching. Yun. And then if you will notice, it's hard to reach the water and fire because in the reality they are contradicting. So the air is the middle one, and then the earth is the smallest one because all of the materialization, it starts on this small piece of atom. So this is the earth. Yeah. So if you want to access the elements, so use the spirit and then that fingertip of of the specific elements that you want to to activate or to invoke. That's it, Apo.
And you can also extend, or you could make an exhibition or stretch your fingers by using the other hands, no? So by knowing those elements, you could connect each element to create something good into your life, no? So we are going to discuss that on our Hilot Binabaylan training. And also probably on Tawas and even on Sibulan and Lautala. So let's move on. Welcome back, Desiree. So at least no, don't worry about that dahil kasi we are going to share these modules and the video also for review, no? Don't worry, there is no exam, no written exam here. So this is just a webinar, so for your information. So what are other influence of the Buddhism or Buddhist religion in our country in these modern times? You remember every time that there is a fiesta, we put banderitas, no banderitas. But actually, the banderitas is a Buddhist practice of prayer flag. No, they are putting prayers. So that's why during the religious festival, they put that as a form of prayer. And what I noticed during the Filipino celebration, we love to celebrate or we love colorful because we believe that the diwata or the deities comes down to earth and have fun with us, 'di ba? Even the Encanto, they love playing, they love singing, they love dancing and everything, and they love colorful objects. So one another thing is the Pahiyas Festival of Quezon. I don't know. Is it also common to who's this? Nico, in your area in Pagsanhan, to dress up your house like the Pahiyas in Quezon?
We don't have any particular practice here in Pagsanghan whenever it's fiesta. But we do have something like whenever fiestas here, we do try to what do you call this?
To cook?
We splash water with each
Ah,
other, something like that.
yes, splashing
Yeah.
water, no? So actually, there is also a Hindu tradition of splashing water, but sometimes wine, and sometimes they will, break, no? Parang something, a show of devotion, ano na? And any liquid, no? It's more for cleansing and giving life to the
Uh,
people. So it's a form of blessing. So let's move on. Thank you very much, Nico, for confirming. So these are the some of only few influence of Hindu and Buddhist in our society. Another thing is the mandala. Mandala is a geometric figures configuration of symbols that is employed for focusing attention of practitioner as a spiritual guidance tool for establishing a sacred space and as an aid to meditation and trance induction. So our indigenous people, that is called the Honunu Mangyan, they have this symbol, no? It is called the pakudos. It is a cross or indigenous cross that being used by the Honunu Mangyan for visual motif as it represents the unity of the people in the land and representing their duties and responsibilities thereof. So usually our ancestor also had, no, before Christianity, we already have our cross. The Hanunumangyan have the pakudos, and the cross of our ancestor are like this, no? So if you will see, it's like a trident representing on each direction the power of kaibabawan, kaitaasan, at kailaliman. And then we could see that there are four, you on the middle, there are, nakikita ba na pinapaikot ko? On the middle, we can see a square
Yep.
with the four crosses inside the square. It represents the north, east, south, west. And then we could see that's the direction, and we could also see the ano tawag dito? The cross quarters, no, because we don't only have the four direction, but we venerate the eight direction, the northwest, northeast, southeast, and southwest, no? So what is the meaning of this? In Kilubansa, we have the circle of ancestors, and we also have this called the seven ancestral powers. And within the eight direction, it corresponds to all of your ancestors. And there is a gate there, which is the northwest, that is not related to one another. So it means that is the doorway to the great ancestor, which is the doorway to the Diwata. So if you will study Kilubansa, you will learn that. And I think we have a book on that explaining at our Buy Me a Coffee page, no? So next is we are going to discuss about Islam in the Philippines.
Apo, question.
I'll go ahead. Who's this? Miles.
Yeah, based on the image before with the direction,
Okay.
the ancestral direction, it is also familiar with the Vigvisivir of the Norse tradition. It is actually like the Vigvisivir emblem who uses by the ancient Norse. It yeah. If you
Mm.
look it with the if you check it with the internet, look for Vigvisivir if I pronounce it correctly. It is actually like an emblem for Norse warrior
Mm.
to guide them so they can return home, because normally Norse is actually traveling with ships, Vikings. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, this is actually like familiar. If you can actually check, so at least we can share it with the group. Um, Let me see if I can send you
Ah,
the image.
okay. Actually, it's nice that you are referring to the nurse, no? It might confirm Jennifer Davis' ancestry because I know some German is also connected to that. I think it's an ancient tribe in Germany. Is it right? No. So there is a similarity indeed, no?
The area of Scandinavia also, like Iceland, Norway, Sweden, like really the northern part of Europe,
Mm-hmm.
Germany. So yeah, there's definitely is a connection. Yeah. Mhm.
So it's nice, no? It's nice that we have this webinar. We see our interconnectedness. We belong to one race indeed, no? We might be indigenous to some, but we are colonizers to some, but indeed we are indigenous of this planet. Have you seen it, Lord Miles?
Yeah, I actually send it to the messenger so you can
Okay.
so you can share it
Okay.
with the screen share. Yeah.
Teka lang. Let me just go to the messenger and I'll stop sharing this and I'll gonna check this one.
Yeah,
Asan yung
it's
meeting
actually
natin?
like a it's actually like a compass serve as a direction emblem for Vikings. Yeah,
So
that's
it's
the one.
almost similar din, no? It's almost similar. But meron lang tayong square sa gitna, yung ano, but
Yeah.
almost similar. It is also eight directions, no?
Yep.
Wow, thank you very much for this information. I hope we could learn a lot of this. Siguro mag-share ka, Miles, about that very
In the
soon.
future.
Mag, in the future, mag-handle ka ng class.
Yeah,
So, thank you very much for this. No? So, meron ka tuloy assignment. Pinakita mo eh.
yeah.
But anyway, it's nice that it is good to share, no? It is good to share. So,
Yeah.
let's continue. Dahil kasi baka abutin talaga tayo ng alas 2 dito. Mahaba-haba pa. So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Apo.
nice to know that, no? So, indigenous people, hanunumang yan. So, next slide is Islam in the Philippines. So, Islam was established on 610 AD by Prophet Muhammad through a revelation by Angel Gabriel. Though the spread of Islam worldwide might have bloody history. We know that there is a bloody history on spreading Islam. But amazingly, here in the Philippines, it was very peaceful, and they because they came not to conquer and colonize our country, but instead they established trade relation to boost our economy. So it was recorded that Islam is the religion first monotheistic religion practiced in the Philippines. And the first mosque in the Philippines can be found in Barangay Tubig, Indangan, Simunol, Tawi-Tawi, Mindanao, Philippines. It is built by Sheikh Karim Al Maktoum, an Arab trader and Sufi Muslim missionary. So actually, trading has been a vehicle of everything, no? Even though even on my part, no, on researching the history of Hilot, we could not found any exact document that will lead us that there is a founder of Hilot in the Philippines, no? Or there is a certain, because on Swedish massage we will know that there is someone like Sir Peter Hendrik Ling, which is a physical therapist and gymnasts that develop those massage technique. But in Hilot, there is no direct person, but it was inculcated to our culture. And then if you will notice on the modalities of Hilot, such as we practice not only massage, we do bentusa, it's somewhat na it's like it come from different parts of the world. The reason for that because of the trade system. And before, trading is not being paid by money, it is an exchange of energy, no? If you don't have money, okay, I want to have your plant. So what is in exchange of plant? Okay, I'll give you my ship. If you don't have that, what is your knowledge? So you teach me what you know so that I could use that. And probably that's some of the origin of Hilot, no? But regardless of that, um, when Islam came to the Philippines, the people have noticed, the indigenous people have noticed that it was good, and there is no compared like now, na don't do that, do this, but they were able to syncretize the Islamic faith into the animist religion of our ancestors. So let's go move forward. So if the Srivijayan Empire, which is the Hindu Buddhist, they bring Hindu Buddhism, they also bring the Rahanate or the Rajanate in the Philippines. The Muslim trader naman give us Sultanato or Sultanate. So Raha is a royal Sanskrit used title used for monarch, and Rahanate is an indigenized monarch polity that was first recorded in Cebu. Whereas the Muslim, when they arrived in the Philippines, Sultanate in Sulu was established on November 1405 by Pudaka Mahasari Maulana al-Sultan Sharif ul Hashim, the first ever sultan in the Philippines. Actually, Pudaka Mahasari Maulana al-Sultan Sharif ul Hashim, it is said that he is a direct cousin of the Prophet Muhammad. That's why those people or Muslim people are proud of themselves because they are connected to their founder, to the founder of religion of Islam. No, so as a religion, it teaches five major pillars of faith. It is the Shahada or confession that there is no other God than Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of God. The observation of Salat or five obligatory prayer, which is consists of Fajr, Dur, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha, by giving alms or zakat, sound or fasting during the month of Ramadan, and Hajj, a religious pilgrimage to Mecca, the birthplace of Islam, once in a lifetime of every Muslim. Actually, when Islam came here to the Philippines, like what I said, our indigenous ancestors have incorporated their own spiritual belief while they practice Islam. And one of that is some indigenous people, spiritual practices such as the Sama tribe of Sulu, consult with Anggubat or medicine man, that is the Babaylan, no? That describe herbs and tawal, which is a talisman that should be carried by a person. So yung tawal is a copied scripture verses from the Quran and put it on paper, and they have this parchment with them. If you could see, they put it on a parchment as a talisman. So here on my part, no, I have also similar like that, but we call it libretto. I think I used this when I was still on Filipino, what do you call that, on the Christo pagan path, no? So it is a small booklet with some prayers, no, or Latin prayers. But for the Muslim, no, for the Sama Badjaw, they have the Tawal. So instead of the Christian prayer, they write it the oración or the Quranic verses. So the purpose of that is for protection, for blessing, and good luck, no? Or depending on the intention that you want to have. And sometimes they have also this kind of gayuma or love potion that comes from the Muslim Bible or the Quran. So now we reach the Roman Catholic Church, no? So Ferdinand Magellan reached the Philippines. When Ferdinand Magellan reached the Philippines, it was 10 days before Easter. And on March 31, 1521, they celebrated the first Catholic Mass in Limasawa as celebrated by Father Pedro de Valderrama. But the intensive Christianization in the Philippines did not happen from that day, but it happened on the coming of Miguel de Legazpi on 1565. And Basilica Manor del Santo Niño de Cebu is the first Roman Catholic church that been established in the Philippines by Father Andres de Urdaneta on April 28, 1565 in Cebu. So actually, the Santo Basilica of Santo Niño in Cebu, if you go there, there are many candle vendors there that will pray for you by dancing the candle to the altar. So after they dance and they pray, no, you are going to offer it to Santo Niño. So there are many miraculous things that happen when you go to Cebu, especially if you do the lighting of candles. But anyway, so the Roman Catholic Church has brought their main doctrinal tenets to our indigenous ancestors, which are the seven holy sacraments of the Catholic faith, which are the following: baptism, confirmation of faith, Eucharist, penance and reconciliation, anointing of the sick, holy orders, and matrimony. So, even though even though the first conversion and intensive evangelization of the Catholic faith, our indigenous ancestors were able to incorporate and syncretize our animistic belief and practices to the modern faith that brought folk Catholicism in our country. So, beside that, you could see the organization. I think this is the Tres Personas, and they have some rituals, no, and folk Catholic rituals, and they also believe on the anting-anting, mucha, and other that is outside to the doctrinal faith of the Roman Catholic Church. Although nowadays the Roman Catholic Church are getting strict, no, strict in terms of their religion. They forbid. Actually, I received some messages, or what they call that, parang they send message to my partner that said, don't teach tawas because it is not Christian, and they are very afraid of that, no, because many people right nowadays are going out of the Catholic Church and returning back to the old religion, or if not, they are going to Pentecostal and etc., etc., no. So next is the Protestant Church that was brought by the American in the Philippines when they took over the country from Spain. The first missionary who spread Protestant faith in the Philippines were United States Army chaplains. So the first Protestant church established in the Philippines is the Central United Methodist Church on March 5, 1899 at T.M. Calao Street, Ermita, Manila. And the first who became Protestant were Paulo Zamora, the father of Nicolas Zamora, who became the first bishop, Filipino bishop in the Philippines, and credited for establishing the indigenous evangelical church, which is the Iglesia Evangelica Metodista en las Islas Filipinas. Itong si Paulo Zamora, if you don't know, if you remember, there are three martyrs, no, in Cavite. The Padre the Gumbursa, and Za is Zamora, and his name is Father Jacinto Zamora, that has been beheaded. Garote, no? Or what do you call that? Yung garote, parang bitay ba siya? It has been, they put some bag and then until they die. Actually, that event started the revolution. Through the death of the martyr, Jose Rizal also been killed. And because Jose Rizal has been killed, Andres Bonifacio has been killed. So actually, it was the start of revolution. And during those time, Paulino Zamora is the brother of uh, of Jacinto Zamora, Father Jacinto Zamora. And the reason why he became a Protestant is because of rebellion towards the Catholic Church. No? Although it was nice because the American came, they bring another option for Filipino to take, against Catholicism. That's why they became a Protestant. And the son of Paulino Zamora, Nicolas Zamora, is because become the first bishop. And because he had some problem with the American missionaries and pastors of the Protestant church, he went out of the Methodist church and established his own evangelical movement, which is the Iglesia Evangelica Metodista and Las Islas Filipinas. That makes na it is it was the first Filipino church before the Aglipayan church, no? So mas early yung Methodist before the Aglipay church. So now, after knowing all these things, this religion brought to us by different nationalities became the source of our modern spiritual beliefs and practices. Will that mean, as modern Filipino of this generation, we do not have our own indigenous pre-colonial spiritual belief and practices? Because this is the common knowledge that people is teaching to us. There are no one, or I haven't known anyone who talks about the prehistorical before the colonizer, because on Facebook people will say are coming back to Hinduism and Buddhism because this is the first religion of the Filipino, as they said. But before we go to dig deeper on the pre-colonial or prehistorical indigenous spirituality of our ancestors, let us review the timeline. No? So in 1899, the Protestant was established here in the Philippines, and 1565, the first Catholic Church was established, and 1380, the first mosque in the Philippines was established, and then in 1225 AD, the image of Buddha was found in Mindoro, and it was recorded at China's Zhao. In 1001, China's Annal Song Shi recorded the first appearance of Butuan tributary mission, describing Butuan as a small Hindu country with Buddhist monarchy. Actually, it's nearby Davao yan, di ba? Then in 950 AD, the Golden Tara was found in Agusan. No? Then on 900 AD, the Laguna copperplate inscription was the first written document in history, the start of pre-colonial history in the Philippines. Actually, the Laguna copperplate was dated, it was the first ever document that that signified the start of written history of our country. No? And through that, we believe in Baybayin that it was our founding date. Supposedly, it was April 21, year 900, when the Philippines has been mentioned through a document that start our modern history. But before that, there is on 650 AD, the Srivijaya influence arrived in our country. So now, so we have known those documents. But is our history started on Srivijaya Empire? So we go back deeper on the timeline and we found this Manunggul jar. Do any one of you know about the Manunggul jar? Do you know what the Manunggul jar is?
No po.
Nico? No po. Okay. So no. So I'll just continue. Thank you for confirming, no? So Manunggul jar is a secondary burial jar that is found on Tabon Cave at Lipo on Point Palawan. Actually, it dates back from 890 to 710 BCE. This means that human presence in the Palawan, which is part of the Philippines, has existed since 47,979 years before this present time. No? The discovery of Manunggul jar proves that our prehistorical ancestor that can be found in Palawan has their own spiritual beliefs and practices, such as this burial practice. No, I don't know. Na I think a civilized person will only know how to bury their dead because we haven't seen any animals na merong fellow animals that bury their dead animals. No, so it's only human. So it means during those years, 47,000 years ago, people know how to bury their dead. And why do you think that they bury their dead loved ones? So it means they have their own faith. They have their own belief system that we need to bury the body of a person, no? So the design of the bar has a lid of boat with two human figures sitting on a boat. This shows that we have our own maritime culture even prior to the influence of Srivijaya. So the Philippines has our own maritime culture before Srivijaya, which is a Thalassocratic empire. This also shows our precolonial belief that all of us has a soul, and when our soul left our body through death, they will ride on about to reach the afterlife. So it is a beautiful testament that we could see in our National Museum of Anthropology that they are keeping this, that we have our own faith, no? Not on faith, but faith pala, faith. So that is the evidence. So if people die, we have a soul. But before soul or before we live, this soul came to us. So the Filipino people, on every tribe, we believe on soul, no? So our pre-colonial indigenous Filipino ancestors believe that we have multiple souls. But let us understand first what is soul according to the Katagalugan region. Since all of us here speaks Tagalog, I think in Davao it is called dungan. Can you confirm that, Princess? The kaluluwa. Do you understand
In
dungan?
sa Davao yung kaluluwa sir is ano, um,
Kalag?
kalag.
Ah, kalag, no? Kalag. Thank
Oo,
you.
opo.
So iba yung dungan.
Hindi ko po alam yung dungan.
Ah, okay,
Kalag po
okay.
yung kaluluwa.
Oh, kalag is kaluluwa, no? So
Oo.
kaluluwa is kalag in Davao.
Mm.
But in Tagalog, it is kaluluwa. So kaluluwa has, we divide it into its baybayin. So ka means companion and luwa means come out, no? So it means come out. Thus kaluluwa means our companion when we comes out of this world. So, in order to differentiate the kaluluwa from the living and the dead, they are the following. So, when we are alive, we have our kasama or kakambal, no? So that is the kaluluwa of the living. Whereas the kaluluwa of the dead is probably commonly known as multo or just simply kaluluwa, no? So understanding the concept of Filipino soul or kaluluwa has great benefits to traditional Filipino healers or hilot binabaylan. So if you are going to study this, no, um, just parang a preview why it is important to know about the soul, because there are many right now parang uso or popular issue or topic is about mental and emotional health. So, understanding our kaluluwa could help us heal and address some mental illness and emotional illness that people are suffering. So now, let us go on. So as they will determine the cause of illness and know which of the individual soul that is in pain, as a living soul needs a vessel of the physical body in order to function life, and these souls that individual possess makes them alive. No. So for example, what you can see, no, and how important the soul is. In this image, it is our soul that directs our body to move and what actions we should do. It is also the soul who feel the punch and our body reacts from the stimulus that we receive from the outside action of other people. And when our soul leave our body, even though how hard the punch you give to that body will not react. It will never feel or the feeling because the soul, it is the soul that feels, no? So whatever action the living people will do in our body will not be felt anymore, as our souls are the one who determines what we should feel and react to the situation that we are encountering as we live our life. So in life, no, the reason why we are alive because of our soul, the reason why we think we hear this because our soul is perceiving it. So will that mean na when we die, we could communicate with the soul? So later on, we are going to find out. because as a human, we have a multiple soul. And let us start knowing the first soul, no? Now, our precolonial indigenous ancestors believed in multiple souls, and these souls came into different stages and life and celebrate it through the rites of passages. I will share now to you the seven souls that Luntiang Agama believe and being taught in Hilot Academy of Binabaylan. The first soul that comes to individual is called Ulirat, no? Ulirat. So Ulirat is the first soul that comes to individual. It comes from the word uli, which means again or come home. In Bisaya, uli, come home, no? Or uli again. And ugat or root, such as when a seed starts to sprout and becomes a plant. This soul of an individual is the manifestation of the thought forms brought into action by their parents. All that can be compared to electricity that flows within an individual that makes them to manifest the conception of their thoughts. Thus, there is a word called uliran, which means exemplary, that makes a person best of his kind. No? So ulirat is an electricity that flows within an individual, and being exemplary makes a person to be an uliran, di ba? Oh, okay. Bumalik tayo doon. So the loss of ulirat will make a person inutil or the incapability to become useful. This makes ulirat to have its vital as it dwells in our body to have our life purpose. Prenatal care is very important. The parents and relatives of the unborn child thus caring for the baby even inside the womb so that when it comes out of the womb, there will be no deformity in the body of the baby. This is why there are many taboos among our indigenous ancestors in pregnancies such as the manobo. Diba, even when you get pregnant here, we have this saying na, oh, don't eat twin banana because your child will become twin. Or don't eat crab because you might have this problem deformity. So we have so many taboo in terms of pregnancy. So the second soul that comes to a person is called muwang, no? It arrives from the moment the mother carries the newborn child and feeds from her breast. Muwang is filled up with the divine spark of life that comes from the mother's milk and stays in the baby's stomach that is known in the Bisaya as kinabuhi or divine life force. Muwang is the soul that comes to us to have sense of belongingness or being part of the group such as a family. This soul gives an individual a space in a family or community by being part of it. Thus the word puwang or space is acknowledged. Many indigenous culture conduct ritual in welcoming the soul in the individual, such as the Mansaka performs bonong, akika in the Islamic community, and binyag for the Roman Catholic or dedication ritual among the Protestant denomination. So parang even for us as Filipino, it is very important that we welcome a newborn child, no? Even though we as pagan anituhan, we attend binyag because we consider that life as valuable, and by going there we make them feel that they are welcome to our space. That's why the muwang is brought, or parang the muwang is the soul of belongingness, no? But muwang is strengthened, as like what I've said, no? It is belongingness. Muwang is strengthened in the stomach through food and drink, such as the newborn baby is fed on their mother's breast, thus strengthening emotional bond between mother and child. And when we grow up, I think after this, most of the time, like before, now we have Tagayan ritual. So, which is commonly observed in all places in the Philippines by sharing food and drink. It strengthened the emotional bond of the gatherer and giving space to welcome newbies to be part of the community. Is it also common in Germany if you have a friend, a new friend, or you drink or you share toast, something like that?
Unfortunately, no. I just thought about it that because we just welcomed actually my no the nephew of my husband. received his baby in the summer, so about 3 months ago. And what was so I was wondering about that. Nobody talked about the baby. They were just talking about, oh, how many? So you're already returned from hospital, and so it was very superficial. I was just thinking about now today in modern Germany, we don't have this like a ritual or welcoming ritual. No, we don't have that anymore.
Mm. Oh, too sad, no? But here, I think even though we have this economic condition, economic crisis, I think the welcoming community or the welcoming ritual is a form of elevating the economic status of the new couple that has ano, because they will have this mare or pare, they will connect, they will invite ninong or what do you call that? Godfather and godmother. And usually aside from giving money or setting a feast for the child, so the money that been collected with many godmother and godfather will become the fund, no? Parang initial fund for the child for example, for study, for
Right.
having a business or whatever, something like that, no? So there is a kind of behavior that, and because of that, the non-related person becomes related because of that newborn child, no? And that strengthens the muwang of the person.
Yeah.
So yeah. So let
Yeah.
me okay, go ahead.
I think that besides being Christian or not, or being related to a faith, we don't have this welcoming atmosphere here anymore in our country. That when somebody is having a baby, a newborn child, we don't have this. It's I don't know what happened here. It's
Yeah, I think no. That's why when we talk privately, no, I've mentioned that Germany needs healing because
yeah,
of the cultural or the historical trauma that all the people have, and probably that's what is happening. That's why the rituals have
yeah,
diminished or vanished or whatever. And probably yes, when people get healed, not because only of the economy, but of the past trauma, they
mm-hmm,
want probably right now German people want it to be more simpler,
mm,
simple and practical, and that was okay, no? But soon it might come back again. That happiness and peace and love and joy will flourish back again in Germany. So, okay, let us move on. Let's continue. Such as the Tagayan ritual, which commonly observed in all places in the Philippines by sharing food and drink, it strengthened emotional bond of its gatherer and giving space to welcome newbies to be part of the community. So, this is the opposite of muwang, no? It is called buwang, which is a condition of an individual. If muwang left or did not come into an individual, it is seen as mental illness or retardation of an individual, and most likely condition who suffer from this condition was unloved and uncared. And most likely, buwang people can notice always be speaking to themselves and always angry, or it seems they are arguing with somebody even though they are just talking to themselves. Today, we have this challenge of dealing on mental illness such as anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder as problem of the soul, which require attention from expert. Medical experts might provide medication on this mental disorder through antidepressant pill and others. But caring for the soul requires an expertise of a spiritual advisor, such as on the days of our precolonial ancestors, we have our babaylan, no? So actually, I have a question. Do you remember na parang before going to school, you are required to eat your breakfast first? Merong anyone from you? What is the reason of our parent now why we need to eat breakfast before going to school? Nico, you are the most likely looking the student.
I'm no longer a student, but yeah, I do remember that before going to school, we really need to eat our breakfast because they said that you need energy and you need the nutrients from the food you eat to make sure that you are actively participating in school. It's kind of like it gives you, you know, the energy and the knowledge that you need to make sure that you perform well in school. That's why.
And thank you very much, Nico. Miles, have you heard na if you skip meal, you get crazy? Meron bang
Ah,
ganon?
yeah. Yeah. I actually heard that kind of thing also. That especially from old or from our grandparents, mostly our lola. You don't just skip meals whenever you go to school or any meals because um by having an empty stomach, it will give you like a condition where your thoughts are uncontrollable, and then you might find out one time that you're actually talking to yourself. That's
Mm.
why most of the like what mentioned in the visual aid, most of the buwangs are those people who's actually skip meals. They actually started from skipping one meal and then two meals, second, third meal. Mostly it happens for those unfortunate people who doesn't have enough money to purchase their own food.
Yeah. I have a question also for Carl, uh, Lord Mandrake.
Yes.
Do you know the condition of bulimic? Bulimic ba yon?
Yeah.
Yung parang they have this food parang disorder on terms of skipping meals.
Uh, yeah, I actually heard about that, but I don't know anything about further information about it. But it actually use, yeah, yeah, like psychological, right? Yeah.
Wow, thank you, Sir Dex, on the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen, but I heard. No, Joel, you raised your hand. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I think the bulimia is like a mental condition wherein they don't skip meals actually, but they induced vomiting. They wanted to vomit the food that they intake because their thinking is that if they eat meals, they get fat. That's the very first mentality that's the first commonly thought they have whenever they eat. They get fat. So it comes from first it comes from their mindset that they're getting fat, and then they're insecure,
Mhm.
and then that's the very reason why they induced vomiting. So that's bulimia.
Oh, thank you very much, Jennifer. Do you have something to say?
Sadly, I have to confirm this also here in Germany. We have a lot of obese persons, so really
Big.
overeating or overeating. And on the other hand, we have also, I see this in young girls and young women, like really anorexia. So they're putting themselves on constant diet and they're not eating. And I think this goes back to a lack of that really connection and bonding. Just what I said before, that when people get babies, they're not welcomed. So we don't have like a welcoming, a happy culture. People are feeling accepted and loved. So, and when you miss the love and the bonding, I mean, what do? People are working hard over here. They're leaving the out of breakfast, so you're having breakfast outside on the go. So you're meeting your family actually maybe only in the evenings or on the weekends. Everyone is busy. So, I mean, what do you expect? So everything is like really not in balance. And that's why we have a lot of food cravings, and also here with the smartphone always looking on. So it's a
The
lack of,
mukbang.
yeah,
Yeah.
it can be a very empty life, even though you have a lot of like really obligations. And so we have to fill this gap with
In
spirit.
Indeed, no. So the soul that been affected there is their muwang, no. Actually, muwang talks about the emotions, how they are being fed. Because, di ba, when the baby started to eat, it feeds from the best. of the mom, and it gives love. It has emotion. So those people that have this food problem, anorexia, bulimia, and even the obesity or stress eating, no, the issue here is the acceptance of the society for them. They have
I
issue of connecting with other people, right?
Yeah, I call this emotional nutrition. It's
Indeed,
not only the food that we eat, you know, but also that what we receive for the heart, for our
true.
emotion. Mm.
I think there is also another story that is nice to hear. It is the story of Lakay's cousin or nephew that
Mm.
Lakay will tell. Lakay, can you please yung baby mo? Ay, yung baby ni Maye, please.
Yun. So the son of my nephew, which is the son of my cousin, which is my nephew, parang based on the observation and the situations, the baby is always get or ano dinadala, bring on the hospital because the baby is not that strong. So the baby is so super sensitive. So she has a lots of sicknesses or illnesses. And then one of the worst thing is the last week that they bring it to the hospital because the baby out of the blue they vomit blood, and then the poop has also a blood. So they uh bring the baby on the hospital, and then the doctor check the organs. They do their stuff, and then based on the doctor, the baby is more on fine. The condition is fine, so there's no serious disease or illness. So the question there is parang what happened? Why the baby experiencing that? And then my family also, they are aware on the spiritual stuff. So they consulted some albularyo or the mystic. So they performed the spiritual diagnostic, and then they found that there's someone who is hexing the mom. But the mom has a strong protections because the mom, which is my cousin, also practicing some protections, spells or magic. So the findings there is the mom is super protected, so it bounds to the weaknesses part of his life, which is the baby, so that parang the mom will be affect yeah the mom will feel the effect of the curse. Yun. So that's the situations. And then when we read the family, including the parents, the mom, the mother, then the father, then the baby, and then the environment, there's a problem of the misunderstanding for the partner. So their relationship is not that strong. So the baby suffer because of that. So it's like unintentionally, or we don't say it out loud, but the energy is too sensitive. So the baby can sense the energy vibrations on his environment. So if he sense the negative, so he absorb it, so it manifests in the sickness. Ayun. So one of our parang suggestion to the mother or to the parents to fix their issues, personal issues, the love life or the relationship. And then for the baby, so they need to to show their love, their care, because the baby needs security because she's sensitive and very weak pa. So we need to secure or we need to share or to project the positive energies so that it can help for the speed recovery. Ayon Apo.
Yan. Thank you very much, Lakay, for sharing. No? So here we learn food and the quality of food. It's not only the nutrients, but how you prepare and how you give it. No, is important so that our muwang, thus our soul muwang, would be stable. Because sometimes if there is madness or if there is a negative energy, you give it with negative energy, the tendency is we are poisoning also the food that we eat, no? So let's move on to the next slide. So Muang focuses on the development of our feelings and emotions. So the next soul, the third soul is called the Malay. It is the soul that comes to an individual light. It is marked by the child readiness to explore to the world through employment of their vision and recognition. As an individual grow, our Kamalayan allow us to recognize the things around us through vision. As we explore our world with our home within our home and community, we learn things. No, through recognition of what we see in our environment, we develop skills to respond in a situation. It strengthens our awareness that we are all connected to one another, thus making us all creature of the divine. The absence of malay in an individual makes them tanga, no, or ignorant, which makes them to neglect interacting with other creatures and feel unsafe in doing so. The person who lose malay does not pertain to a person that faint or pass out or in a comatose, but being tanga or ignorant are the one who does not care and does not have less or no concern to what is happening around them. No, so the next soul is called alam. Alam is the first soul that comes to an individual which reaffirms and reinforms malay by establishing what is right and what is wrong. Usually, this soul is contributed to an individual by other people as a result of experiences that been established in other people's lives. So sometimes this knowledge or alam, it is through the experiences of other people, and we share it to other people that they will learn also. But those process is somewhat either safe or dangerous. Safe in terms of if you are trusting people that sharing knowledge with you. It means if the knowledge comes from your parent, we could trust them because our parents will never aim us harm, no? But sometimes the knowledge that we gain outside of our family, it could be dangerous because it might give us an influence or brainwash us to the truth that they want to establish in you. And sometimes our truth is different from their truth, and their truth might not be the same as us. That's what happened when the colonizer, the Christianity came, or the foreign religion came to our country by telling their truth unto us, and our truth, they make it false and demonize our own God. So this soul of ours empower us to take action and get involved in our society by sharing ourselves to them, on which becomes compassion. But sometimes through what we know, we also become a bully and aggressive to other people that they see pride within ourselves. These souls of ours can be excessive or depleting when it lacks of it. That's why it is called mangmang. Or excessive, it makes us braggart or meddler, pakialamero. No? The next soul that comes to us is our sanity or bait. It is the ability to apply our knowledge in order or in the right place. It helps us do the right thing. The absence of this soul make us baliw or insane. If a while ago during the muwang we became buang, this one we became baliw, no? Being a buang and baliw is different. It's on a different level because the absence of this soul make us baliw or insane. Most modern religion now want to take control of these souls, especially during the time of colonization, and indoctrinate to us the religious values. Not only religion, but also the government, schools, healthcare facilities, and even social media nowadays are influencing our soul on how to live our life, such as on the image you see on TikTok. Now, it is very common right now here in the Philippines to do the AI, what do you call that? AI challenge. No, they make themselves as a robot, and they comply to people what the people would like to do. If we send them flowers, they will like, how smells good, something like that, no, or something, whatever, no. I pity them because some of them, especially this man, is good looking, no, pero he looks like crazy. Most of the time, other people will compliment us as mabait or mabuti if we have satisfied them according to their expectation. So as the society now in the world have set their standards through law on which will classify as an individual as good or mabuti, and if we do differently, we considered as bad or insane, or as we do not conform to what people want to see in us. Especially on my part, no, I many of the people in the society would consider me as insane or baliw because my teaching is different from their teachings. But for me, parang we do not need to conform to the society, no? If it does not really fit onto us. And by conforming to the society, it removes our own identity and our own sanity to ourselves, no? Such as what happened to some of the influencers. Supposedly, they should influence people, but instead, they are being influenced by other people, by obeying to what the other people want to see on them. So in Luntiang Agama, we see this as a spirit possession, as a sign of kabaliwan, as it is as it shows the manifestation of control of the spirit that is either of the thought forms of other soul, whether alive or dead. Sapi is the Tagalog word for spirit possession. But if the sapi is being conducted or being manipulated by a live person, a living spirit, it is called as kulam, no? So even the usog, 'di ba? Do you know the usog? Usog is like a powerful emotion. For example, okay, I'll just stop sharing. Actually, usog means to move, no? Meaning move, to move. I think uh, uh, um Princess, do you know usog, 'di ba? Bate or gaba or
Opo.
wa-
Gaba.
gaba, no? Gaba.
Oo.
So gaba or usog is a form of energy that certain person project. For
Mm.
example na lang, if you know if you know that a house has a couple that is fighting, will you knock on that door and enter? 'Di ba parang you will be moved not to do it because you are afraid to be get caught in their fight. And sometimes if that is a strong energy that makes a person afraid, and through that emotion that we had, it affects us. It gives us some form of illness such as sweaty. Have you been what is the condition, Sarah, do you know the condition of being nagaba? Yeah, Lakay, kindly discuss it or describe what is the condition of being ano, or Miles, do you know the situation? Oh, there you go, Lakay.
Sige. So about the gaba or the usog, this is like a psychic vampire. So if you are familiar with the psychic vampire, so this is the one who like parang you are talking to someone, and then after talking to that someone, if that person leave, you will feel drained, and sometimes you will feel headache, or sometimes you will feel tired out of the blue. So that's the parang signs of the usog or the psychic vampire. And sometimes here in the Philippines, if you have a strong usog, the result or the effect of that is the person who is the victim of the usog, they feel na parang they want to vomit, at the same time they want to poop. And then their sweat it's like whole and cold. So one of our ancestor, to confirm if that is usog, most of the time they touch the ear and then this elbow. If this both area is cold, so it means you are under the usog. Yun. So most of the time they blow that person, that victim, with some specific oration or prayer. And sometimes they use some specific herbs for that to treat that usog. Ayun na po.
So usog is a power of every one of us, no? Every one of us has that ability, and it is done unconsciously. You don't intend to make usog, because if you intend do usog to other people, it is already called kulam, no? Kulam, witchcraft. Uh, so ano, or hexing or cursing them. So let's move to our next slide. Hopefully we finish by 12. Malapit na, sorry. So but leaving spirit do the possession or bothering the mind of individual to lose their sanity is kulam. Colonialism, commercialism, addiction, and fanaticism are form of kulam that controls our mind, the mind of many people, that changes our value system, thus losing our own bait or katinuan. Our bait or katinuan builds our own character, thus giving us our own identity. This is why it is said that our soul wander, and if trapped, the soul-eating demon will eat it. Our soul and illness will become and worse to that, no? But our babaylan have a cure to liberate our soul from the entrapment of these soul-eating demons. And sometimes, di ba, if you encounter some situation na parang you caught into an argument, even in your sleep, you will bring that feeling, and sometimes you're feeling, and when you woke up on the other morning, you feel very tired because your soul wander and probably running from that demon, soul eating demon in your dream. So next is the alaala. So this has been taught to us that our souls are the storehouse of information in our life. So our soul contains the information of our past life, of our present, and of our future. No, so actually, it is the akashic record of our life. No, this is the duty of our soul. So sometimes we go to the Akashic Library and meet with this alaala. So they are the one who provides and process the information that we see. And alaala is a vital soul, as it does not only process the information that we experience in this present lifetime to be accessed in, but also we could access it, the future into it. It also store our past life experiences as our personal key to the Akashic record that contains all the information in the universe that is past, present, and up to the future. Ala-ala is translated in English as memory. It is the soul that remains even when we die here on earth, no? Remains on earth even after death of an individual. Many people usually see this as ghost memories. Our memories are created by the actions and experiences of an individual during the time that they are alive. Some people who died that created pleasant things could be immortalized as a saint or anito, and those who do unpleasant things, they become demon or busaw. But in terms of of this memory, 'di ba, when we do spirit questing, when we go to house, to haunted house, are we really seeing ghosts there of or a soul of a dead person, or are we just connecting to their memories and we are replaying it back to our memories? So this one is the soul of the individual that help us to determine who they are. So usually, as a human being, our souls create or stores the memory, and like what we have said, it is created through our experience. So depending on what we create or what kind of experience we create, our souls be remembered. But sometimes, if you do bad, many people will not recognize you. But if you do good in the society, according to them, you will be recognized and your soul will be immortalized. You will be always remembered, such as our national heroes and sometimes celebrity or some of our ancestors. No? So let's move faster, move forward, fast forward tayo. So the last soul that came to an individual is called isip. No, usually this soul arrive when a person is being recognized to have an ability to think and decide for themselves, and being marked in a celebration called coming out of age or debut. The government also recognized this as an individual to have reached their own legal age. Isip is also known as diwa, which is which is a Sanskrit word which means shiny, exalted, or excellent. Thus, an individual that has their own isip can make a decision for themselves without any intervention of other individual. So let us a review, no? The first soul that came to us is Ulirat, second is Muwang, third Malay, fourth Alam, five Bait, six Alaala, and seven Isip. I think Desiree, you have we have discussed this in our class before, diba? So do you have any questions regarding about the souls? So, okay tayo. So, let's move on. So, we have discussed the soul and what happened to the soul when we die. So, we move, no? Ito na pala yun. So, from what we have discussed, we learned that our souls came into our being gradually and not all at once. This is the reason why most people around the world celebrates the birthday. I hope even birthday celebration is being observed in in Germany. No? Okay. Yeah, at least yes, no? At least yes. So, and through what we have discussed, we have learned that the ingredients of our souls came from our parent and other relatives that we know as mana in or inheritance. Mana is a trait or quality that within us that has similarity to the qualities that can be seen from our parents, grandparents, and other relatives, at least not to your neighbor. So it's dangerous. So even the behavior, characteristic, traits, and qualities of our dead ancestors can also be reflected to our souls. And with that, we honor our dead loved one as our Anito. So the Anito are the spirit of the dead's ancestor. And some people would confuse this word to the spirit of nature and deities. But later in our presentation, you will learn the spiritual realms of our pre-colonial indigenous ancestors are interconnected to one another. So our ancestors are not only limited to our dead loved ones, which make us our blood lineage, but it extends to our neighbor, village, municipality, province, or even in our country. So it means as Anito, we have our family Anito, we have our community Anito, we have provincial Anito, and we have our country Anito, no? So the concept of having a kinakapatid, do you have that na parang kinakapatid or siblings, even though it does not come from your family? If you have a best friend, for example, you have a son and you have your best friend, the children of your best friend, you call them as siblings to your own children. Is it familiar? Or yeah, yeah. So that is the concept of kinakapatid, no? So the concept of having kinakapatid derives from the teaching of kapwa, which means kaputol ng kaluluwa or other half of the soul. As our soul evolves, as we interact with our kapwa in developing our souls in order to obtain our own isip, no? The collective experience of our kapwa that being shared unto us make us a whole being. Since the teaching of pakikipagkapwa since the teaching of Pakikipagkapwa teaching us about having interaction with our fellow live beings, the spirit of the dead also brings this teaching to the other world, which makes them interact with their living relatives through paramdam, that is to make their presence felt, or dalaw, that is visitation of the spirit. So non-related dead spirit can also make presence to be known to the living individual through bati or greeting or napaglaruan or being played with. The effect of the interaction of dead souls to a living individual may vary. It's either depending on the actions made by a living individual or the nature of the anito or spirit of the dead when they are still alive. Anito or the spirit of the dead can be beneficial or malevolent. Benevolent anito can be invoked as abyan or gabay or guide, and malevolent one are considered as busaw or multo for the Tagalog. The spirit of the dead actually are not good or bad. Living people only classify them because of the effect that this spirit brought onto them. The kind of death and how the person lives their life determines what kind of anito a soul will become, no? Such as if a person lives a honorable life and always doing good to their community, but if that person who is a good person but have faced injustice and horrible death, no, sometimes this soul could become a busaw, a demon, no, because that soul uh would look for justice, no. But if that person died in a natural way, then he lives a very good life, admirable life. He could be an abyan. But sometimes it could be it could also be opposite, no. There are people who are very very bad while they live on earth, but sometimes when they died, no, and when that person died, he died peacefully without a terrible injustice. That person could be an abyan or a spirit guide, no, not a busaw. This means, as a practitioner of precolonial indigenous spirituality, which we call as Filipino magic or anituhan, there is a possibility we could change the nature of the anito. Since anito is a soul and a soul is a form of energy, we could transform the nature of that soul into either good or bad. As anito is a soul which becomes an energetic being which could not be destroyed through any means, but fortunately, it could be transformed through rituals, amulet, charms, and talisman, which we will offer training. We offer training at Siadtala, by Siadtala and Hilot Academy. No, it is like, if you remember, some of our ancestors, we have this custom of putting some gold mask in the pre-colonial burial system. No, we put them face mask and we give them amulet, or sometimes we give money unto them. No, it is the reason for that is we are changing their soul, and we have this desire for this soul to elevate into a good kind of spirit that will not harm the people. But even the busaw or demon, we don't see them as very bad, but sometimes it could be used as a guardian or a bodyguard for us, such as some of the warrior babaylan that is called bagani. They invoke busaw as their ally in doing their warfare, no. Actually, what is good in our indigenous culture, no, spiritual culture, if you are a demon busaw, you could be transformed into an abyan. How would a busaw could become an abyan? If, for example, if you have been invoked by a bagani to help them in their battle, it means when you accomplish them by giving victory to that war or battle, your soul will be transformed into a byan, because you are a great god guide for them, no. So sometimes that is the reason why we are praying for the soul. We pray to the soul because we want to transform the soul into more beneficial, even though when that person is not during the time that they are alive, they are useless. So we use them in the other realms to send us blessing, to become useful, so we could make wishes unto them, no. And especially the babaylan could create a program or create what you call that, a ritual for them, na how will they be transformed. And that is also the same reason when we pray for other people, we want to transform their soul into more beneficial and uh, or more useful, no, useful life. So let's move on. So aside from Anito, we're almost done. Aside from Anito, there are other unseen beings that could affect our life, such as the Encanto or elementals. You know, prior to this, I have seen some Facebook reels that says, "Let us not believe on the Encanto because they are demon. They are outside the Catholic faith." And yes, it is outside the Catholic faith because Encanto are elementals. And the belief of elemental is very essential for us, the Filipino, because we could not separate ourselves from Encanto. Do you know why? Do you know why we could not separate ourselves from the Encanto? The reason why we could not separate the Encanto to us, because Encanto is called also as elementals, and elemental are the element of earth, air, fire, and water. Later on, we will learn more about that, no? So, Encanto are popular term used mostly by Filipino folk Catholic music, but in Islam, they are termed as jinns or demons. Encanto is a Spanish word which means enchanted, and as our colonizers call it, to pertain to the belief of pre-colonial indigenous ancestor to the unseen and that lives among us. In the Katagalugan region, before it was known as Encanto, our ancestors called them as kasama or kaibigan, or those who are unseen friends, no? The Encanto or kasama are categorized by an ancestor depending on how they affect human lives. The beneficial Encanto are called as impacto because they have a great impact into our life, whereas the bad Encanto or malevolent Encanto are called maligno because they bring bad luck unto us, no? Though the kasama are neither good nor bad, they are spirits of nature that is also found within all of us, such as the laman lupa, if or in English, um, no, laman lupa is content of the earth, content of the soil. Laman is content, and lupa is soil. So if we are going to be what do you call that? Technical or literal, what is the content of the soil? So they are minerals, no? And probably under the soil we could have rocks and stones. There are something, but the Greeks have taught us to personalize or to personify, such as in the Greek mythology there is Gaia, the personification of the earth. So it is also the same in our indigenous culture that we believe as an animist, the trees could have their own spirit, the soil has their own spirit, and even the laman dagat or the content of the sea has their own elemental spirits, no? So moving on, in Hilot Academy of Binabaylan, we have taught that human beings are made from five elements through the creation myth by Dewatang Kabunyian. So Apo Kabunyian is a creator god in the north, in northern Philippines, which is the Ifugao and the mountain provinces. No, Kabunyian made the first human with his own hand from clay, which is a combination of earth and water, according to his own image or larawan. When the image was formed, Kabunyian baked it over to the fire. When the image or larawan was cooked, the body of the first human became the katawan, and from that body, Kabunyian breathed air so that it may have life or buhay, and Kabunyian blessed the first human with his spirit consciousness that it may serve his purpose, and by doing so, man will achieve wellness or illness if not doing the purpose. No? So this encanto or kasama are part of every human being. But so why we get sick if we have an interaction with them? Actually, it's not only with the Encanto or Kasama that we get sick when interacting with them. We also get sick when we also interact with the spirit of our dead ancestor, so as with the Diwata, which later on we are going to discuss to have a detailed discussion about the Diwata. No? Encanto or Kasama are fellow creature created by our Creator. They were created first before us so that we could have a world to live in. The Creator used part of them to be part of us, as it has been told in the creation myth by the Kabunian. So some Filipino mystic describe Encanto as humanoid being, no? Actually, I left the depiction of the Taoist or the Chinese about the Encanto because sometimes in Chinese mythology or movies, they presented the Encanto as half human and half animals, no? So mostly they are when they have a form into human, they were good looking, no? But for us here in the Filipino, it's always scary, no? It's always scary. So their appearance may look like human but also have a feature of some animals. that may look like a monster. Being a creature created ahead of us, they are also seen as our elder, which keep the mysteries of the creation of our world and the universe. So Encanto is also a form of elder because elder in Filipino is called babaylan. So it means they are the first babaylan, and through them we inherit this body, this life form, no? So we are also, as a human being, we are also an Encanto. So another being of pre-colonial indigenous spiritual realm are the Diwata. They are lesser divinity that is usually an agent of the supreme deity that is called Umli. So no wonder that there are so many Diwata because they are an agent of Diwata. So every one of us, no, when we call about Diwata, no, Diwata derives from the word Diwa, which is the mind, and Ta for Tao, no. That's why Diwata. So it means each one of us has our own Diwata. We have our own deity, not the imposed deity by the religion, but there is a deity or Diwata that guides us. That this is the same reason that we have this Bansagan ritual ceremony or ritual naming ceremony, so that we will know our personal Diwata, and by knowing the Diwata that have called you, you may be empowered more, no? Because each diwata on latest slide, I will ano. So I'll just continue. The diwata derives from the word diwa, which means mind, and ta for tao, that means human. In Luntiang Agama, we believe that each individual have their own diwata, just like in the Catholic tradition, each child has their guardian angels watching over them and always ready to assist us in times of need. So here, it's me, no? So each one of us does not only portray as a student, no? For now, let us say we are all student at the same time. But in real life, for me, I am a son. I am a brother, a friend, an uncle, a father to all who comes to me with respect, but will be a stranger to those who come without, but I will never be an enemy to anyone. So Diwata can also be seen an aspect of divinity. So it means for me as an individual, I have a different aspect, like what I've said. Every one of us, we have a role that we take in the society, no? But to our family, we are a son, brother, friend, uncle. But the Diwata, the aspect of the divinity or the Diwata will come to us in different form. That's why, for example, for Jen, you are a singer, so you are a Diwata that sings. There is an inspiration by the divine being that is given to you on how to sing, and not only that, in giving or making songs, no? Because you are also a composer, and probably you are also a choreographer because you dance. So as on each one of us, like Nico, I see that you draw, you are talented and you have this special gift, no? So you might possess a different or not only one diwata but also multiple diwata, no? Thus, there are many diwata that could administer to human in times of our need. The teaching about Omli has been explained to us by the Manobo indigenous people in Mindanao. I think last time we have discussed that last full moon, no? So that they are higher class of deity who hold themselves apart from human affair. So, as a summary, and congratulations, we are about to finish. Luntiang Agama, Natural Divine Art Shed of Healing Incorporated or Landas ng Lahi believe that there is one God. And this God has multiple manifestation as how human would understand, no? The teachings of the Manobo indigenous people taught us about only, and it resonates to our belief in Luntiang Agama and explain the reason of having a supreme deity among pre-colonial indigenous spiritual tradition. Only are the supreme diwata that was called on different name according to spoken language of different ethno-linguistic tribe in the Philippines. As of this moment, Landas ng Lahi enshrines 61 names out of 182 ethno-linguistic tribe in the Philippines, and the new names of the Supreme are added gradually as the Spirit of God or Anituhan reveal themselves to us as their chosen binabaylan. So, a summary, The Filipino are known to be a highly spiritual people, not only in the Philippines, but also in the diaspora. But the spiritual belief and practices of the Filipino in the Philippines does not limit alone on Protestantism, Catholicism, Islam, Hinduism, and even Buddhism. The discovery of Manungul jar by Robert B. Fox and Miguel Antonio in 1964 proves that our pre-colonial indigenous ancestors have prehistorical proof of their spiritual beliefs and practices, which is dated back 50,001 years before present time. And if we are going to date it back to the present, our decolonized year is already 47,979. The Manungul jar proves that our ancestors believe in the afterlife and there is a world after death. This also explains our belief that all being has souls that is not just one, but seven souls. And when a person die, they become an anito, either as gabay or as busaw. And as a living individual, we are surrounded by a kasama or encanto that is also a composition of us. And the Diwata are our helper and guide us to send us and guide sent to us by Umli, which is the supreme divine Diwata. So this is all for our webinar. Thank you for coming. Do you have any questions? Yes, Desiree.
You, you mentioned 182 diwatas. Where does that number come from?
The 182 Diwata. It is the number of 182 ethno-linguistic tribes in the Philippines, no? So it is from the statistic. So we are still searching for other tribes, but as of this moment, we only have 61. But the formal enshrinement of this Diwata, as of this moment, we only have 13 that could be found on landasnanglahi.com. So we are still studying more and find those ethno-linguistic type, the 182. I hope that answers. Is there anything else? Princess, do you have any question?
I have a this is not a question, this is a conclusion that
Okay.
Diwata, Encanto, and spirits are real. Is that correct?
Again,
Is
again.
that true?
Can
Uh,
you
I can
sabihin mo nga ulit?
conclude now that I can conclude now that spirits, Encanto, and Diwata are real. Is that correct?
Are are
Is that
are you- okay. Let me I know if I get it right. The spirit, Encanto, and Diwata is real.
yeah?
Yes, 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 yes.
So I can conclude now. I can conclude now.
Yes, thank you very much,
So,
no, for that
yeah.
conclusion. Actually, it is all part of us, no? Or it could be possible that we as human only created that. But if we dig deeper, we are a spiritual being with a body. And this body is the elements, the earth, air, fire, and water. And the earth part is the flesh and bones. That is the earth. What about the water part? The water part is the blood, no? And the air part is the one that we breathe, the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. And the fire part is your beauty, the complexion, the body warmth. That is the fire. And the spirit is the one that is hearing now. They are the one that process this information that gives you a conclusion. So we are all interconnected to one another. The Encanto, the Diwata, God, and everything because we are alive. No. So thank you. It's a wonderful conclusion. Anything else? Jennifer, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I just want to thank you all for making this happening or this event possible. Thank you. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
I want to say that I think I'm on the right path.
And welcome home.
Yes, it's really it's so it's a very honest feeling. I'm so looking forward to also meeting my cousin next year. I can't wait to come back to the Philippines and I could just I feel some tears in my eyes now because it's something that I've always felt even when I was younger. I always felt growing up in Germany and being raised also Catholic and going to church, I always felt that there is something else deep inside of me. I've always felt that there is much more. And when I listen or hear that the land of the Filipinos was how can I say this, like 50, almost 50,000 years back, there was, I don't know, I just get goosebumps. It's so intriguing, and I can't wait to learn much more about it. And I just want to thank you all for, yeah, for sharing. Thank you.
Yeah, you are very welcome.
Thank
Miles, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, it's muted. Sorry about that. Yeah, I only wanted to take the opportunity to thank you all for this wonderful meeting. We actually learn a lot, especially when it comes to the culture of Filipino practice or spiritual path, and also a good refresher. And nice to see you all. Hope for more kind of more workshop like this. So at least we grow together. That's all.
Oh, yeah, and thank you very much, Lord Miles. And Desiree, I think we are going to see again tomorrow. Yeah. So how is your vacation here?
So far, so good. Um, I am surprisingly, but not surprisingly, very comfortable around here. My dad made sure to raise me very Filipino, so
You
I'm
stay here
glad
na
that I
lang.
feel I belong.
Yeah, you are very much welcome here. So I think who's this? Okay, Sinji na lang muna. Final words?
Yes, hello everyone. Yes, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to be here. I'm actually very fascinated about the new information that I got from this topic right now. So, guys, I'm actually, it's so shame no, that I'm actually practicing witchcraft here in the Philippines. But, however, I do not have enough knowledge about the Philippine tradition. So, yeah, thank you for this opportunity. So, yeah, just one question, just a quick question again.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, I agree with you. So, that there is a parts of the soul. So, how do you again? Maybe I miss it. How do you difference the soul from the spirit?
Okay. The spirit is okay. Do you know the marionette?
Yeah,
The doll?
yeah,
Um, the marionette doll. Okay. It has parts, no? It has the wood part, which is the body, and it has a string. And then on the string there is a cross or a wood that use it to ano. So the body, it will not move without the string, the cord. And that cord is the soul, and it is attached to different parts of the body. And each string has its own purpose. Whereas the wood that used to control is the spirit. So if
Oh,
the body does not comply to the will of the spirit, the soul or the string will be detached or will be entangled, or either it will be broken. So for us as manghihilot, as binabaylan, we are the one that detangle the string so that it will follow the will of the spirit, which is the diwata or the divine creation. So I hope that explanation will be have a clarity of the difference between soul and the spirit.
yeah, thank you for that. There is actually a different perspective in terms of spirit and soul.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes they said that the soul is not the synonyms of the spirit. Yeah.
true.
So yeah. So if you're going like though is I'm not quite sure this is the right platform because the Hermetic Kabbalah there is a different explanation
Yes.
regarding the spirit and so. But thank you again, Apo and everyone for giving
Ni-
me the opportunity to be here.
You are welcome, always welcome, no? And Nico, do you have anything to say or parting words or questions?
I don't have any particular question yet, but I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity on learning about more on historical facts and information regarding the history of the Philippine practices. I did learn a lot, and I hope that I will learn more in the future webinars as well.
Yes,
Thank
you will,
you.
no? So, for me, before Lakay, so siguro the next project that I'm going to create, actually, I was invited at Witch College to discuss about Filipino witch culture. I think I'll be needing your help, Sinji and Miles, about that. And we have actually, because if we talk about Filipino, it's very wide, because Filipino are worldwide. So instead of discussing about Filipino witch culture, I will narrow it down to Philippine witch culture. What are the witches or magical practices here in the Philippines only? 'Di ba? Kasi in America, Canada, you are a Filipino, but there are also many practices or even religious point of view that you adopt and make it into practice. But for me, I still, since I'm not out of the country, I'm still here in the Philippines. So we might discuss only in the Philippines. So thank you very much. Lakay, I'm saying goodbye na or hindi, joke lang. So let us wait for Lakay.
Ayun. So for me, this is my ano parang share, and then based on my experiences uh, about the spirit and then the soul. Sometimes the soul it's connected to the personalities. So sometimes we can connect it na if you sense some attitudes to that entity, we can say na it's a soul, soul of a human being. And then sometimes if that entity is close to the spirit, most of the time they radiate or they project more on connected to the elements like fire, air, water, earth. So sometimes if the entity is they produce earthy smell, so it's close to the spirit of nature. But sometimes if the entity they create some like crying, like shouting, like mad, they are mad, or sometimes you will sense na someone is walking around. So it's more on close to the soul. So it's a human being. So based on my experiences, so I clearly identify what type of spirit that or soul. And then our ancestor, they are closely connected. They are invoking and calling the help of the Dewata. The Dewata, this is the supreme deity or the supreme God, the creator. The nature spirit, which is the Encanto. And then the Anito, which is the ancestor. So this is our ano, parang clear terms so that we can clear or we can identify the spirits or the whatever we call. And based on my observation and based on my senses, what's happening to Jennifer, this is a call of your ancestor, which is the active part there is the spirit of your ancestor, which is the Anito. They are parang leading you to what right path or what right directions. Because we believe na the working of the spirit sometimes they they start on the like the yoga. You are parang into that na there's some energy that parang you are attracted to do that, to study that. So it's a form of calling. So it means if you respond on that, so you accept the calling, so it's continuous. So the spirit they will lead you automatically. Now sometimes you will meet someone which is with the same intentions and practices, and then you will meet another because we based on our experiences and the study here in the Philippines, the working of the Diwata they are not fixed on the specific name. Sometimes if you are devoting yourself to the specific name, for example, the name of Mayari, the deity of moon, So sometimes they parang uh, they let you experience the other name. So sometimes you accidentally found the other Diwata's name. So it means the Mayari is leading you to some other name of the Diwata because that uh, present Diwata, ano ba yun? The future Diwata, that is the parang the specific energy that you need for that present situations. So it's like that. So they are parang connect the dots. So all we need to do is just follow the situations. It's like go with the flow, like that.
Kindly share the reason why a person gets sick whenever there is an encanto.
So sometimes, thank you, Liz. So sometimes, the person or us, we get sick through the encounter. It's more on parang, uh, parang this is the two types of signs na you are lacking of energy or you are, sobra? Excessive. Yun. So that's the reason na sometimes na we will that situations manifest into the physical realm as sickness. So we need to observe our physical body if we are full of energy or lack of energy. And then the nature spirit or the encanto spirit sometimes affect us because sometimes parang if they look us na parang we are has a lot of energy, so they take it from us. So parang they will see that. So sometimes maybe parang out of control. So the parang our carrying energy parang mas nagle-lessen. Yun. So parang hindi na control na parang i-maintain yung balance. So sometimes then the spirit parang they seen us na parang we need some extra energy. So sometimes they feed us. And then sometimes they cannot control the amount of energy na sometimes nagiging siya parang excess. So one of the secret there is as a person and especially as a magical person, na we do and we interact a lot of spirits. So we need to be aware if we feel na it's lack or it's we have an excess energy. So sometimes one of the technique there is the grounding. So we need to maintain the grounding or we need to do the grounding by reminding ourselves in our reality, in our present time. Yun. And then sometimes the spirit then, parang they are not intentionally want to harm us, but because of the energy frequency or the energy vibration, we are not compatible or we are not ready yet. So sometimes they manifest in our physical body as a hot or heat. So sometimes we will feel we have a fever, and sometimes we will feel the headache. Yun. And then sometimes the other manifestation of their interactions is the skin rashes. Yun. So sometimes they are parang their energy is super close to our auric field. And sometimes our auric field because we have the natural defense na if our soul is not ready yet for any other energy vibrations, they automatically shield. So sometimes parang the manifestation is different on the physical body or on the person. Ayun. So about dun sa questions ni ah Lacan and then Joshua about do the seven souls correspond to the certain areas of the body, for example, the chakras. Ayun. So the souls and then the chakras, we have a different topic for that. But we will give you the parang some info. The chakra kasi it's Western term for the wheels or for the center for tama ba? For the center of it's like parang door of the energy. But in the Philippine correspondence correspondence or equivalent, we have na we don't have the chakras, but we have the sacred hole or yung butas. So the sacred hole, uh, for the male, we have the 10 sacred hole. And then for the female, this is they have the 11 sacred hole. So the sacred hole, this is the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ear, the navel, and then the yung sa poop area, and then doon sa pee area. Ha? Genitals. Oh, butthole and then the genitals hole. So that's the sacred hole. The soul sometimes they uh enter and then they exit on the mouth. And then the negative energies or the negative energy vibration, sometimes they enter to the ear and then to the eyes. Yun. So that's that's our chakras. But the correspondence on the physical body, yes, we also have that. For example, the alaala, so it's connected to the memories, which is to the brain part. And then our soul also, sometimes we interpret it as a persona. Yun. It's like a personality. So sometimes if the person is possessed by some other spirit, so sometimes they change their personality. So sometimes we study what types of or what kind of the seven souls is being affected. It's the memory part ba, or it's the ulirat or the malay. So it's like that. Ayun, Apo.
Thank you very much, no? It is very important kasi talaga na we understand about the soul kasi most of the mental health and emotional health issue could be pertained to the soul, no? We have to, no worries kasi ibibigay ko naman to sa inyo. I'm going to give this up and you could study more deeply on it. Especially if you are a healthcare worker or traditional healer practicing in your area, no, we could understand what really happened. Like, so in terms of the diwata, all of us has a mind or diwa, and the diwa always drive us to what is good upon us. And the diwata is the embodiment, and we are the embodiment of the diwata. Because each one of us has our own diwa, which is the mind, and the mind has the power to create, co-create, and recreate. Yes, Joshua said, can you have more than one diwata looking after you? Indeed, no, there are multiple diwata like Lakan Ubaya Nagsalad, no? Actually, our naming ceremony on the Bansangan, usually right now parang because there are still many other diwata that is for waiting for us to honor them. And right now, we started from 13 names, but now it becomes 60 names, no? You could see that at the Temple of the Diwata at landasnanglahi.com. So, Lakan Ubaya have, I think, 3 Diwata. Can you confirm either by voice or by text? 3 Diwata. I know Ubaya is Magbabaya and Nagsala, Ampu Nagsalad. And I believe you also have Kaptan. Tama ba yun, Lakan Ubaya? You are also a vessel of Kaptan or Kabunyian? Yeah, Kabunyian. So you are also Kabunyian at Magbabaya. And yeah, Ampu na. So three diwata, no? Sometimes the diwata will select one vessel to be their storehouse, to be what do you call that? Yeah, a vessel nga. You are a vessel, like a house. So each one of that is the reason why there is no temple that was ever built, although Babaylan Tamblot have and Babaylan Pagali and Babaylan, I forget the father of Pagali, no? There are 3 Babaylan who attempted to build a literal temple of the Diwata, inspired probably by the Catholic Church, no? Because the first Catholic Church was established in 1500s, 1565 in Cebu, but Babaylan Tamblot was 1621, no? And they want to have this physical temple just to make sure that the indigenous religion, the tribal religion will survive. But unfortunately, the Catholic killed them. But even though they killed them, no, even on my list right now, even on my list right now, the names of Babaylan that we are enshrining in Luntiang Agama is already how many? It's already, I think it's already 15. So there are already 15 Diwata who really fight for our spiritual liberation from the colonial religion, no? Yes, there is possibility that there are many Diwata who wants to make a vessel of you, no? Since as a human being, no, as a human being, I want to stop again. Sana hindi ko makalimutan. As a human being kasi, we are not just a one person being, no? Remember, we all started as a children, as a child. Then being a child, we expand to being a brother or sister or being a friend. Then as being a friend, we became a lover, then we became a husband or wife, and then we become a parent. So we are facing multiple personalities, and the Dewata are assisting us on those different aspects of personalities. But in our life right now, in these modern days, no, new Dewata is being born. And that's the reason why the Dewata of the past are coming again in the future and have called each one of you to represent them, because each one of you is a light, no? Just like the meaning of Diwata being a light being, like an angel in the Christian, Muslim, and Buddhist tradition. So we are a Diwata because, for example, Joshua could be, okay, I will not. I know it's very sensitive, but government servant kasi si ano eh, si Lakan Joshua, eh, no? And Lakan Ubaya is a healer, no? He could, the reason why he have divinity because Lakan Ubaya is dealing with different kind of personality to the people, and he is becoming a light towards them, no? So most of you are radiating your own light on different aspect of personality. For example, like in office work, in military, in government, and etc. etc. No? So we and the Diwata is helping us to reflect those needs in that situation. So this is all for now. If you have any questions, it is about time for us to discuss it. Do you have any re- reaction? Yeah, yes, si Adtala. Simulan Adaw Tala. So do you have any questions?
So about dun sa concern ni ano ni Joshua, yes, Josh, you can also tap or you can connect to the different types of diwata. So you can combine the main diwata that works for you or you feel na more connected. So for example, the tala is your parang the most connected spirit of the diwata. So you can use the tala, and then if you thought or if you feel na there's another name, specific name of the diwata, so you can add the talang tapos yung specific name. Because one of the reason why the diwata comes to us, it depends on our need on that specific time or specific situations. And then sometimes parang the main the main diwata, parang they lead us to the specific energy vibrations that can help us to manifest the specific desire. So like that. Because sometimes then the specific name of the diwata, they are the specific power or the specific intentions. So like the only is the whole or the source. So parang ito yung pinakang main source. So if the only or if the main source distribute some specific energies, so they transform in the diwata specific name. So it's like that. So you can you can combine the name. So sometimes for example, the magbabaya, This is the one of the Trinity or the persona of the Bukidnon, ah, Bukidnon and Talaandig. So the Magbabaya has a ano ba yung kasama? Three companion, the Agtayabon, and then the Dadanhayan na Sugay. So the Magbabaya is the thinker. So it's more on the working of the mind. And then the Agtayabon, he is the paramediator. He is the wing god. And then the Dadanhayan, Hasugay. So this is the 10-headed god. So it's more on para materialization kasi the Dadanhayan is the carrier of the water element and then the soil, the earth. So if you want to work more on the thinking, more on the planning, so you can use you can add the name of the Magbabaya to the Tala. So Talang Magbabaya. And then if you need some parang to mediate or more on talking to give counseling, so the Agtayabon, the wing god, so you can use the Talang Agtayabon. So it's like that. So it's like more on combining the energies based on your specific need.
Maraming salamat sa mga katanungan and thank you very much for coming. And yes, thank you to also to you for coming, Daphne, Domingo, and dalawa pala ang Daphne natin, no? Are you the same as Daphne Clem ba yun? Ah, yeah, different Daphne. Maraming salamat. So, good evening. I think, sorry for taking your time. Malapit na mag-midnight sa inyo. So, yeah, different Daphne. So, thank you very much for two Daphnes. And I'm glad you are here. And, yun, mayari na pag-asatin. Love you, love you. Mwah. Bye-bye.